Hello, everyone. I am Dr. Dragone, and today we're talking about some adaptogens. So what is an adaptogen? Basically, it's a plant extract that can non-specifically enhance the general resistance of the body against multiple stressors. And basically what this means is that it helps us deal with stress. So these are parts of a plant or plant, maybe the extract of the plant that will help us deal with stress and helps us physiologically, like inside of our bodies, deal with stress and the reactions that stress causes. A true adaptogen must meet 3 different criteria. The first is that they are non-toxic, and this is that they're safe and non-toxic and show no significant side effects or contraindications when used at normal doses. This does not mean that if you take adaptogens all day, every day, you're not going to experience some side effects. It's similar to a medication. Too much is not great, but when you're used at normal doses, they're not considered toxic. Adaptogens produce a non-specific response in the body. This means that they have a generalized action to improve resistance to all kinds of stress, whether it's physical, psychological, emotional, etc. So it acts differently depending on what stressors you're exposed to. Next, adaptogens have a normalizing impact on the body. So adaptogens can have a bidirectional effect, which is pretty cool. This is like my favorite part about adaptogens. And basically it means the plant is going to perform as needed in order to help return the stressed physiological conditions to a normal state. So for example, if you're someone with hypothyroid, you can use adaptogens and they will help to boost your thyroid function. But if you are someone with hyperthyroid, you can also use the same adaptogens and they're going to help lower your thyroid. So it's really cool how they kind of have this bidirectional effect depending on how your body needs to use them. Nearly every culture in the world has used rejuvenating plants with similar properties as modern day adaptogens. So researchers have found that much of the lore around these herbs is actually true. So going to, ancient civilizations, and they've always said they have used this plant for whatever they've used it for. When they did the research behind it, they realized that there are actual components of things in this plant that are effective for that. So for example, in Chinese herbal medicine, most of the adaptogens were called GI tonics. In Ayurveda, they're called rasayanas, excuse me. And for rainforest herbalism, they're called paratota, which actually translates to like total health. So it's pretty cool. Adaptogens produce chemical changes within many different body systems. So they can affect the neuroendocrine system, which is your hormones and your neurotransmitters in your brain. They can also affect the sympathoadrenal system, which is your sympathetic nervous system. That's the one that's like that fight or flight response that kind of produces that stress response, as well as your adrenal glands, which help to regulate your hormone production, your metabolism, your stress response, and a whole bunch of other things. Your adrenal glands are really important. And your immune system, which affects, how you're going to respond to any type of disease, pathogen, virus, parasite, bacteria, anything like that. So all really, really important things in our body. There are 9 primary adaptogens, and these are the ones that have the most scientific research and fulfill the 3 criteria that we mentioned earlier. These include ashwagandha, cordyceps, alluthro, ginseng, holy basil, licorice, rhodiola, Shishandra, and I honestly cannot pronounce this one, but I think it's shalat. I'm not even gonna try. Shalat, I think is how it's pronounced. But again, I'm very bad at pronouncing that one. And there are some secondary adaptogens that we'll talk about in a second, but I want to go through all 9 of these and just tell you a little bit about them and what they can be used for. So the first one is ashwagandha. I put this first because this is hands down my favorite adaptogen to use. If you see me as a client, I'm always recommending people take ashwagandha as a supplement because it's just so beneficial for the body. It's been called the herb of youth, longevity, and can help alleviate suffering. That's kind of like the more ancient traditional uses of it. But basically we use the root, and it can be used as an anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, anti-tumor. It's a mild astringent and diuretic, and it's antispasmodic. It really does help to boost brain function. It can help boost fertility in men and can even help reduce pain and improve sleep. It may also help to reduce blood sugar in diabetics and improve blood pressure and cholesterol levels. It's also really beneficial for those who have thyroid disorders. Ashwagandha is one of those ones that if you are stressed out, especially for females, when we have this stress response, sometimes our nails get brittle, our thyroid, sorry, we'll talk slower. Our thyroid gets a little bit wacky as we get older in a lot of females, and we can end up losing our hair. So ashwagandha is a really great adaptogen for all of that. Next, we have cordyceps, and this is actually a mushroom. So cordyceps are anti-asthmatic, antioxidant, hepatoprotective, which means they're protective over the liver. They're a hypocholesterolemic, which means that they lower your cholesterol. Nephroprotective means they're protective against the kidneys, sedative, and an anti-leukemic. So this mushroom can be used to improve kidney function, infertility, and fatigue. It's also protective against some types of cancers and can help relieve short-term memory impairment. Cordyceps are great. There's a lot of products out there that you'll see now that contain cordyceps. For example, there's a couple of companies are making these like mushroom chocolates or mushroom coffee or mushroom infused like protein bars or protein powders. And a lot of them have cordyceps in there because they are so beneficial for you. In the wild, cordyceps interestingly grows on insects. It's kind of gross when you actually look at it. But most of the time when you're taking them as like a supplement or in some type of food product, they're grown on grains because that helps to reduce any like contaminants and makes them a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? For people who are like vegan or vegetarian and don't want to eat any animal products, it makes it more acceptable for them. Alluthro is the next one. So for this, we use the root, the stem, and the bark. It's an anti-cholesterolemic, which means that it helps to reduce your cholesterol. It's also antioxidant, and it can be an immune tonic. So it's really protective against viruses. It also has some anti-cancer effects and is beneficial for the brain and the heart. It helps to boost the immune system and promotes natural liver detoxification. This is a really great excuse me, a really great one to take for detoxification because it is a little bit of an anti-inflammatory. It can help reduce some pain. And they found in the research that athletes can actually benefit from using Alluthro because it helps to increase endurance and stamina. This is a good one for immune boosting. Next, we've got American and Asian ginseng. So there's Panax ginseng, which is the American ginseng, and then there's Asian ginseng. And we use the root for this. It is an antioxidant. It's also a central nervous system stimulant and a mild emulsant. It's a hypoglycemic agent, and it's a bitter tonic. So basically all of that means that it really helps to protect our nerve and our immune cells, and it's an effective immunomodulator, meaning that not only does it boost your immune system, but if you had a hyperactive immune system, such as some like autoimmune conditions, it'll help reduce those as well. So it also plays a role in cancer prevention by preventing DNA damage, inflammation, and inducing apoptosis. And what apoptosis is, when you have cancer cells and they are producing, they don't have the programmed cell death. So typically if we have a cell and it's acting a little funky, apoptosis happens, which means that it will kill itself before it can get into a, cancerous state. But with cancer, we don't have that. So taking ginseng can actually help induce apoptosis. It has cardiac benefits and can protect against neurodisease. It may also be an effective treatment for erectile dysfunction and fertility problems, as well as emotional imbalances such as anxiety, insomnia, and depression. So ginseng is great to reduce the effects of adrenal fatigue as well. And you can see with a lot of these adaptogens, they have a ton of different effects. And that's what makes them an adaptogen. They have like so many different effects on so many systems of the body. It's really beneficial for us, which is pretty cool. Next, we have Tulsi, also known as holy basil. And for this, we use the herb. It is antibacterial, antidepressant, antioxidant, antiviral. It's a diuretic, an expectorant, a galactagogue, which just means that it helps regulate blood sugar, and an immunomodulator. So Tulsi is a very calming herb. It promotes relaxation. It also helps to relieve brain fog and improve memory and reduce anxiety. For ADHD and people who suffer from ADD, it can help reduce those symptoms as well and can potentially be a treatment for mild depression. Studies have shown that an alcoholic extract of Tulsi is actually an effective analgesic and can reduce pain and inflammation, which is pretty cool. It may help to reduce cholesterol, prevent stomach ulcers, and reduce gut inflammation. Tulsi extract has been found to be protective against liver cells from DNA damage and can prevent skin, lung, and breast cancer. But it's important to remember that Tulsi is toxic to embryos, so it's not, you wouldn't want to use it during pregnancy. For licorice root, this is a really interesting one. You might see this a lot if you have a cardiac condition, or you might see this not recommended if you have a cardiac decision. Oh my goodness, excuse me. You would see this not recommended if you have a cardiac condition, but it's not necessarily true. So the part of it that's used is the root, and it's antiviral, antihistamine, anti-inflammatory, an antioxidant, a demulcent. I'm sorry, my dog is being very destructive over here. An expectorant, a hepatoprotective, and an immunomodulator. Licorice root is really great for respiratory conditions and stomach ulcers. You'll see this a lot if you work with like any functional medicine or holistic practitioner. If you have some sort of like stomach ulcer or stomach inflammation, it's really great for that. But the issue is that sometimes if you are not purchasing the right kind, it can actually raise blood pressure. And that's why a lot of people say, like, they kind of have this negative connotation with licorice root, but actually there is a type of licorice. It's called deglycerized licorice that you can purchase. And what that helps is that glycyrrhiza, I think, is the compound in it that actually is what contributes to the raising of blood pressure. And if you take that out, you still get the benefits of licorice root without that side effect of high blood pressure. So always look for the deglycerized licorice if you're concerned. It's really important. But besides that, it is protective against autoimmune diseases, stroke, and oxidative damage. It can even suppress certain cancer growths, including prostate, lung, skin, gastric, and breast cancer. And if you use it topically, it can help to heal wounds because it has that anti-inflammatory, antiviral type of properties, which is pretty cool. Next, we've got Rhodiola, and this we use the root. It is an antidepressant, antioxidant, antiviral, immunostimulant, central nervous system stimulant, cardioprotective, and neuroprotective. So lots of benefits with Rhodiola. It's been used to improve blood circulation and help lower blood pressure. It can also decrease depression and enhance work performance, reduce fatigue, and even prevent high altitude sickness, which is pretty cool. It's also been used to regulate menstruation and treat erectile dysfunction. So you can see we've got a lot of hormone balance with this one. And it may even provide benefit to those with Parkinson's disease because it's believed to prevent the degradation of dopamine. And more dopamine in the system allows your nerve cells to pick them up better in kind of like layman's terms, and that can help reduce the symptoms of Parkinson's. Shishandra berry, this we use the fruit and the seeds, and it's antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, astringent, hepatoprotective, and an expectorant, which means that it helps get mucus out of your lungs and your sinuses. So some Eastern traditions believe that the berries contain all 5 flavors. This is really cool. It's sometimes called the 5-flavored fruit, but that it's sour, sweet, bitter, pungent, and salty. I've never personally tried one. I really want to. If any of you have, let me know. I'm curious, but it sounds pretty cool. So it's known for its liver and blood purifying abilities and for providing protection against toxic exposure. So another really great one to take if you're worried about detoxification. Its regular intake of it increases nitric oxide, which helps to improve blood flow. It actually dilates your blood vessels and can reduce blood pressure. Interestingly, it has a normalizing effect on blood pressure. So yes, it does increase the nitric oxide, which can help lower blood pressure. But if you have low blood pressure, it will do the opposite to normalize your blood pressure, which is really interesting. You want to avoid taking this though if you have any acute viral or bacterial infections. It's also not recommended for people with gastrointestinal disease, epilepsy, or peptic ulcers. So what I found really interesting with this is if you have the flu, typically you want to take, like your supplements and you want to feel better. This is not one to take if you have like any type of acute illness, like you caught a cold or you have the flu, or like especially during COVID, like this would not be a good one to take, which is pretty interesting because most adaptogens are on the opposite side of that, as yes, you want to take them. Next, we have this one that's very difficult to say, but this is really interesting stuff because it's actually a rock. And you can see in the picture, it's kind of like this liquidy gel looking thing. And basically, when you use it to ingest it, it's in this form that's a very sticky substance. It almost looks like tar. And if you look at the Latin name, it's called asphaltum, and you think of like asphalt, it really does have that type of appearance. It's very rare, it's a resinous substance, and it's made out of various plant organisms and humus that's been compressed by multiple layers of sedimentary rock. It's very rich in minerals. It contains 85 minerals as well as humic and fulvic acid. So this is very up and coming, like I've seen a lot of people begin taking this. You just want to be careful because there are a lot of products now that are online that are not fully natural. They've actually had some like different acids added in and they're not as good for you. But it's anti-inflammatory, it's antioxidant, it helps to reduce blood sugar, helps with the immune system. It's anti-ulcerogenic, which means that it helps reduce any ulcers in like your stomach, and also can help inhibit an allergic response. So it's really good to remove pollutants from the body. It's a powerful heavy metal detoxifier, which is pretty cool. It can also help reduce chronic fatigue and reverse mitochondrial and DNA damage, which if you came to my longevity talk a couple of weeks ago, we talked about like mitochondrial and DNA damage and how scientists believe like that's what causes aging. So this could be considered, like an anti-aging substance. It's also a remedy for arthritis due to its anti-inflammatory properties and can help reduce cholesterol. It increases GABA production, which is a neurotransmitter in our brain, and that helps to reduce anxiety and calm the nervous system. So pretty cool. If anyone has ever tried this, I personally have not, but if anyone ever has, let me know. I'm curious to what it tastes like. Now we're getting into our secondary adaptogens, and these herbs or mushrooms have adaptogenic properties, yet there is not sufficient evidence to really classify them as primary adaptogens. So they do meet the 3 criteria, but there might be, certain situations that they're not entirely sure about yet, and the research just isn't there. But these include Maca, Astragalus, Reishi, Bacopa, Chaga, and Ginkgo. So here we have Maca, and this is probably my favorite secondary adaptogen because I do use it a lot in my practice, and because it has so many benefits, and it's super easy to use. The part of it that is used is the root, and you can see there's some like purple in the picture, there's some white, like there's different colors of Maca, and actually each strain of Maca has a little bit of different properties in them. But really, it's an energizer, it's an anti-anxiety, an anti-inflammatory, antidepressant, and antioxidant. I typically use Maca in my practice to balance hormones. It's very effective, especially for women going through menopause or women with PMS symptoms. It can be really beneficial for that, but you need to make sure you're taking the right kind. It can help reduce side effects of menopause, such as like the blue moods, the anxiety, the depression, even some hot flashes in women. It can help with those. It helps to maintain energy and support a healthy libido in both men and women. So it's not just a female-based supplement, men can take it too. It's also good for memory and learning and can help boost energy and endurance in athletes. Using maca topically on the skin can help prevent against sun damage. And I guess I'm assuming that if you were to do this, use this, it would have to be in some type of like extract in a lotion or something like that. I've never personally done it. But being a root, I wouldn't expect you to just be able to like rub it on your skin and get these benefits, but maybe like an oil from it or an extract. Maca is great because you can find it in a powder. And when you find it in the powder, you can literally just add it to smoothies. You can cook with it. You can add it to different like baked goods, or if you ever make like those protein balls or anything like that, you can add maca powder to that. And it's a really good way to get it in and get all the benefits of this herb or this root without having to take it as like a pill, which is pretty cool. Next, we have Astragalus, and this we use the root. It's antibacterial, antiviral, antioxidant, antiperspirant, and hepatoprotective. It can be used to treat lack of appetite, fatigue, and prevent against kidney and liver damage, as well as boost the immune system. It may even help boost the effects of chemotherapy and radiation. So it's important that if you are taking this and you do have cancer and you are going through those treatments, that you let your doctor know, because if it does have, a boosting effect on it, you might need less chemo, you might need less radiation, which is good, but your doctor definitely needs to know that. And it's also been shown to improve heart function. Next, we've got reishi. I absolutely love reishi. It's a mushroom, and it helps to lower cholesterol. It is anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, antiviral, hepatoprotective, and an immunomodulator. So reishi is one of the oldest known mushrooms to be used therapeutically. Especially in Chinese medicine, reishi is used a ton, but it can help manage blood glucose. It can help boost your immune system and protect and cleanse the liver from heavy metal toxicity, as well as relax the nervous system. And this is another one of those mushrooms that you'll start to see in a lot of different like health foods or new coffees or these like hot chocolates. They're making all of these mushroom infused things, and reishi is a big one for that. It's really good for those who have anxiety because it helps to calm the mind and can help you focus. It's also really good for the brain because it stimulates brain neuron activity. So meaning that you have your neurons in your brain and they're firing all the time, but this helps to get them to connect to each other more and more so that you're actually using more of your brain. It's a powerful hormone regulator and cardiovascular system support and can help reduce blood cholesterol and blood pressure. It's also known for its anti-cancer benefits. In Asia, it's actually used as an alternative treatment for leukemia, which is pretty cool. But if you're taking too much, a good way to know that you're taking too much, like what you'll find is that you'll have like dry mouth. You might have really dry mucous membranes in your nose, as well as maybe some itchiness. And then you could have some stomach upset or even nosebleeds from too much reishi. Next, we have Bacopa, and this is an herb. It has antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, anti-anxiety, and anti-cancer properties. It's been used in Ayurvedic medicine for centuries. You'll see if you go to like an Ayurvedic practitioner or read anything about Ayurveda, you will see Bacopa in there. It helps with memory, reducing anxiety, and may even be beneficial for those with epilepsy symptoms. The antioxidants in Bacopa can help reduce cell damage and prevent diabetes, cancer, and other chronic diseases that result from excess oxidative stress. It enhances the brain function and may be beneficial for reducing Alzheimer's and dementia risk. This is a good one if you are someone who has to take. It can also help with ADHD symptoms such as restlessness, inattention, and impulsivity, and reduce blood pressure. Pretty cool stuff. Next is Chaga, and this is another mushroom. You can see there's a lot of mushrooms in here. It's pretty cool. But chaga is antioxidant, hypoglycemic, anti-inflammatory, and it's an immunomodulator. There is a, for lack of a better term, chaga farm on Long Island, I believe, and they make chaga tea. It's really delicious. It's really beneficial for you. It's actually very good if you have like cancer. It's a really good thing to drink. But it's been used in traditional medicine for centuries. If you were to find chaga, you can find it out in the wild growing on trees. It's not soft. Like when you think of a mushroom, it's not soft. It's like this hard thing that looks just like a growth on the side of the tree. But it's been used to boost the immune system, to reduce inflammation, prevent against chronic disease, and it's been shown to reduce cancer risk and actually help to stop cancer growth. So like I said, if you have cancer, chaga tea is a really great thing to drink. It's safe, and it can have a lot of benefits. Consuming chaga can help lower your blood sugar and reduce diabetes, and may even help reduce your LDL cholesterol and raise your HDL. And if you remember, LDL is the bad cholesterol and HDL is the good cholesterol. But chaga is cool. If you go to the farmers markets, you might be able to find them. Some chaga tea there. Or ginkgo. Oh, 1 second. Let me just go back to chaga real quick. If you find chaga, or if you can get it from somewhere, you can make the tea yourself. You basically just put the chaga in some water and it'll steep, and you can reuse it a couple of times, which is pretty cool. So going for Ginkgo Biloba, the parts that are used are the leaves and the seeds. And its properties are it's antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, anti-anxiety, and an antidepressant. So ginkgo has been shown to reduce inflammation and improve symptoms of arthritis, irritable bowel disease, cancer, heart disease, PMS, and stroke. So a lot of really beneficial things here. It can help to improve circulation and provide a protective effect on the heart and the brain. Ginkgo has also been shown to reduce anxiety, stress, and symptoms associated with Alzheimer's and cognitive decline by improving memory, focus, and attention span. Ginkgo is another one you'll see used a lot, especially if you go to like a holistic or an alternative practitioner. Ginkgo is very well known and widely used. It can help to treat symptoms of depression, and it's a popular remedy for headaches and may improve asthma and COPD symptoms, working on the respiratory system. Pretty cool. So that's it for the adaptogens. If anyone has any questions on them, I'm happy to go back. But before we finish, I just want to share a little bit of how you can use adaptogens, because there's so many ways to use them out there. It doesn't mean just taking 100 different pills when you wake up in the morning, because that's not always ideal. But a lot of these things you can grow at home. You can find them in nature. You can, purchase them from a whole foods place or some farm that is specializing in growing them. And really, supplements are probably the most common way to take them, but you can also steep them in things like broths. You can make elixirs. There's tons of companies out there now that are actually making like mocktail syrups or mocktail drinks that have extracts of like chaga or reishi or ashwagandha. There's actually protein powders that have that in there. I think Ancient Nutrition is a brand that has a ton of adaptogens in some of their protein powders for smoothies. Then you have teas. If you grow any of these at home, if you have any of these in your yard, you can make teas out of it. Super easy, just boiling some water, steeping the stuff in there, all the herbs, all the benefits. And if it doesn't taste the greatest, you can always add some honey and some lemon. You're going to still get all the benefits. There's also a ton of teas. I think Sunwink is a brand that has some adaptogens in their sparkling teas that they're making. There's spritzers, there's tonics, there's also like body and face oils. So if you go to any natural food store, what is the word I'm looking for? Natural body and face oil store, you might start to see some of these ingredients on there, and now you know a little bit about them, so you can make like whatever choice you want to, if you want to purchase it or not. And lastly, just the smoothies, you can do that at home. It's super easy. You can buy powdered forms of all of these things and add them to your smoothies to get all the benefits without having, to take another pill. So that's all of the adaptogens. That's not all of them. That's most of the adaptogens. There are a lot more that are a little bit less known and not as well studied. But you can do your research, and I encourage you all to try to incorporate adaptogens into your daily life because they are so beneficial for your health. But does anyone have any questions? If anyone has any questions, please feel free to unmute yourself. I'm happy to answer them, or you can type it in the chat if you don't want to talk. That's okay. Any thyroid issue, I would 100% go to ashwagandha. It is such a powerful herb for that, and it's really safe, which is why I love it so much, because it's one of the I don't recommend people taking supplements because you never know what medications are on, et cetera, but ashwagandha is very, very safe, and it is one of the ones that I will recommend for pretty much anyone. So yes, if you have any type of thyroid issue, by all means, ashwagandha. And dosage wise, you can do like 500 milligrams to 1,000 milligrams, but I wouldn't go over 1,000 per day. Does anyone else have any questions? No more questions? Okay. Well, thank you guys for listening. I hope you enjoyed the adaptogens talk. And I can, if you want, I
have a question.
Yep, go ahead.
Okay. One thing you didn't, I've been getting a Deepak Chopra shake for the last, I don't know how many years, maybe 15. It started out with his Ayurvedic place in Massachusetts, and then it was taken over by Zri, and it has it has a lot of Ayurvedic herbs, including ashwagandha, which I do have tea for. But what about amalaki? They promote that a lot. Do you know about?
I don't know much about amalaki. It might not be an adaptogen. It might just be a really beneficial herb. Like it might be an Ayurvedic herb, which is awesome. I love Ayurveda, but I'm not skilled in it. I've only scratched the surface of learning about Ayurveda. But I can look it up if you want to put your email, like send your email to me. I can look it up and tell you what I think. But I'm sure if Deepak Chopra is great, he really is. So I'm sure.
Yeah, it comes in either Dutch chocolate or vanilla, and it's very fat burning, heart healthy, awesome. And it's a meal replacement. It's called Achieve, and it actually has some sort of fiber in it, because if you like, what I do is I just put black coffee, a frozen banana, 2 scoops, maybe a little oat milk, and I blend it up, and it's delicious.
That sounds really good.
But if you wait for, if you leave it for a while, it will kind of start puffing up, like growing. So that works really well in your colon as a, whisk broom.
Yep. Does it have like chia seeds or flax seeds in it at all? Do you know?
I don't think so.
Okay. Interesting. I think that it's got to be some other type of
fiber.
Yeah.
There's that konjac root stuff, right?
Okay. Yeah.
That does the same thing. But I don't know. I have to look. My eyesight. I need something for my eyesight.
Oh no. Yeah. But no, that sounds great. And like I said, it might not be an adaptogen, but it's probably just like a really awesome medicinal herb or root or whatever it is.
It's very sustaining. And I just, like, you have it and it just brings you right up to dinner almost. I mean,
That's awesome.
yeah. There was something else too. I do have some chaga. Someone actually gave me some chunks, and he told me put these in a slow cooker.
Yep.
And 4 cups of water on low, I don't know, overnight or something, and that drink that liquid. That'll be the tea. And then you can reuse these chunks like 3 or 4 times. So I'm going to do it. I made it once. I'm going to make it again.
Yeah, it's great. I love chaga. I used to have the chunks, but I used mine up. But you can always add, like, you can even make that tea and add in, like if you have some maca powder, you can add that to it. If you have any of the other like herbs, you can throw that in there and steep that. So you can make this like awesome combination of an adaptogenic tea.
I just heard from a therapist of mine, because I'm always looking for teas, right? And because I have a little teapot in my bedroom, I have teacups, and I try, to always to drink a lot of herbal teas. And I was coming up short finding them. And she recommended, she said the Stop and Shop in East Hampton has a whole wall.
They do. They're still, we're out here, we're a little limited in our food selections, but they have a good one. King Cullen does have some teas as well.
Right.
But if you are a fan of like really getting crafty with it, you can get just herbs or go to the farmer's market and try to figure out like what herbs they have. If they have like a lemon balm or a spearmint or things like that, and just make your own fresh.
I am a gardener.
Okay, great. So yeah, if you're growing any of those things, you can always just boil your fresh herbs and make a tea. I do it all the time. I have so much like mint and lemon balm here. I always do that, and it comes out really nice.
Really? So do you have to dry it first?
Nope. I just put it in the water and let it boil. And when it comes out, it's like a really delicious tea.
Yeah, I had a whole ton of lemon balm, and then my husband weeded it. That's okay. I just got lemongrass, which I planted.
Yeah, you can use that too. Honestly, any herbs. You can use rosemary. You can use, you can even add like a cinnamon stick to it if you want to add some more flavor. Like any spices, any herbs, you can just boil them down, whether it's in water or in milk, and make a really great tea.
Terrific. The only other thing I wanted to mention is that I do have a 86-year-old friend from Taiwan. She's Taiwanese, and she remembers when if she got a cold, her mother would actually take the ginseng root and make a broth.
Yep, you can do that.
Drink that broth. Now, I have gone into Chinatown to some of those stores where all you see are like roots, and try to communicate like, what am I looking, do you have ginseng? But I'm also wondering, there's that Sang Li Farms, which is a Chinese garden nursery on in Southold, I think.
Yep.
And they may have some of these herbs.
Yeah, you could ask. You can always call. I know they do a CSA too. Sangli does a CSA. But I don't know if they have ginseng. But you could always call and ask. But that would be great. Yeah, I haven't seen ginseng out here ever, I don't think. But that's not to say it doesn't exist out here. There's got to be someone who's got it.
Right. And with the Ginkgo Biloba, I mean, that tree grows like a weed. And you can just take the leaves, he said. And they all turn gold in the fall. I don't know if that's when you want to do it, or if you want green.
I think you want green, but don't quote me on that because I'm not 100% sure. That would be something that I have to look up. But yes, I think I'm pretty sure you want the green ones.
Okay. All right. So you have someone, do you recommend the Amazing Grass brand? You just got like, I don't know, I just saw something flash.
And
the sweet pea fragrance. Yeah.
So I don't know the brand Amazing Grass, but if it's, if it has the adaptogens in it, and you can always, if you And if you would like to send me an email with a picture of the ingredients, I can look at it for you. I'm not familiar with that brand, but it sounds like it would be great if it's got all the adaptogens in it. Again, I can't say for sure, but typically as long as there's no like weird additives or like a ton of sugar or any like chemicals added into there, then it's going to be good. And for Nicole, to answer this question, what do you think about companies like Moon Juice who do combinations of mushrooms and powders? Yeah, I think that's great. There's so many companies coming out now with like all of these mushroom powders. I'm a huge fan of them. I really do love how mushrooms interact with your body. And, you know, I do drink a lot of like the mushroom teas or the mushroom hot chocolates or the mushroom coffees. And you can notice a big difference. Whereas if you are typically a caffeine drinker and you have that kind of spike and then you have that crash, with a lot of the mushrooms, you don't have that. You just have like this really lovely energy throughout the whole day. There's ones that you can drink at night to help you wind down. Those are super beneficial. I was never like the biggest fan of chamomile tea. Like it's good, but I do like my cup of mushroom hot chocolate at the end of the night. And it's just very relaxing. It's really nice. So yeah, I'm a big fan of most of those companies. Four Sigmatic is a good one too. And I use them a lot. Does anyone else have any other questions? I love these questions, you guys. Makes me happy. Yeah. All right. Well, if you think of anything, or if anyone has a company they want to send me like the ingredients for, by all means, just send me an email, because I'm so happy to look at all the ingredients and let you know, my opinion. And that's all.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming today. And thank you so much, Dana, for the great program. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye. Have a great day, everybody.